Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yo, what up? It's Aaron Moses. Gang. Hold on. I forgot to get my water. But Kevin Samuels, Dr. Martin Luther, Kevin Samuels, R.I.P. Kevin Samuels. I'm not gonna lie to you. Look, I'm not gonna show you my whole altar because that would be disrespectful. But bam, I got Kevin Samuels on my ancestor wall. R.I.P. Tawana, R.I.P. Kevin Samuels. I got R.I.P. Simple the P, Selena, R.I.P. my grandmother, Nipsey Hussle, my great grandmother. Oh, that's my great grandmother actually. This is my great great grandmother, Lynn Nerd Watkins, my grandfather, and my granddad on my mom's side. Was he white? I don't know. I'm not gonna lie to you. But look, man. So I was watching this one of my favorite YouTube channels, Dr. John Delony. And Dr. John Delony is I think he's a doctor, but he's a psychotherapist, man. He's a psychologist. Excuse me while I drink this water real quick. And he has a call-in show. He's a Ramsey personality. Call-in show where people obviously call in and they ask him about their problems and if they're crazy or not. And usually, nah, that's not really. I'm not a professional, but a lot of them are pretty crazy. A lot of them are questions that if you actually sit down and you meditate on it, you should be able to easily answer these questions yourself. All right. For this particular, let me take my do rag off, man. For this particular episode, Dr. John Delony got a caller. Let me put my hat back on, actually. It gives me power. And my hair strap. This lady called in and asked, well, she said that her family is concerned and they think that she needs to start dating again so she could have a father figure for her 5-year old little boy. Mm, mm, mm. Because his father doesn't care about him, he doesn't have any contact with the boy. We don't know what goes on in her household or what went on with her husband or who divorced who. She divorced him, because that's just how it is for whatever reason. But she called in to Dr. John Delony to ask, what should I do? Now, upon her explaining why she doesn't feel like she needs to date, she mentioned that she barely has a social life as it is. And Dr. John Delony is a very good listener. That's why he is so effective and great at what he does. Dr. John Delony is a great listener, but me, I'm a great listener too. And I didn't let that slip pass where she said, I barely have a social life as it is. So you mean to tell me that you value the company of your friends more than the company of a man, and you value the company of your friends more than you value your 5-year-old little boy having a father? So you work a lot. You work way too much. You work a lot and you barely have a social life. You don't think a man could solve those problems? You don't think if you had a man, you don't think if you were an agreeable person that didn't think that she didn't need a man, that you would have problems with your social life and you would have problems with balancing your work and your home? This doesn't make sense. The fact that you called into a man's show to ask a man, do I need a man, means you need a man. What is wrong with you? That's all you needed to hear. That's all you needed to know. Hey, my family said I should date so I can have a man raise my 5-year-old little boy. What should I do, man? Ma'am, you just answered your own question. So you're saying you work a lot and you could barely balance your social life, your work, and your home life. Yes, you need a man. Listen to your family. They love you. And I also noticed that she didn't say her bum friends didn't say that she should get a man. Her friends didn't say that she should get a man. Her friends never said, you need a man. You've been spending way too much time with us, drinking wine and watching old Sex in the City videos and eating cake and getting fat with us. You know why? Because they don't really care. That's not your friends. They don't really care about you like that. They're probably single too. And if they're not, they're married or they have a boyfriend and they think it's entertaining that you don't have a man. They like listening to your drama. They like comparing their lives to yours. That's just like when I was actively drinking every day, when I was real bad. You know what I would do? I would watch Intervention. I would drink and watch Intervention and be like, oh, well, at least I'm not drinking hand sanitizer with water like this dude. At least I'm not falling asleep, waking up with black eyes in the alley like this dude. At least I'm not drinking so much that I'm homeless like that guy. At least I'm not waking up with plumbers in my booty like that dude. That's what I would do to make me feel better about my alcoholism. And that's what your friends are doing to you, ma'am. They're saying they didn't tell you to get a man because they're in their mind, they're comparing their crappy life to yours. That's why they don't want you to get a man. Your family truly cares about you. That's why they told you you need to get a man. Now he recommended, why don't you get some of your brothers and your cousins and your uncles to hang out with your son on the weekends? What? I no now I will say this. Yes, it does take a village. It does. But that village is not, this is not like Stone Age times, bro. That village is not going to always be there. People have their own lives, people have their own families, and I'm not gonna say anything against Caucasians or anything, but in a black family, a lot of black families, they would tell you, yes, you need a man. Why are you asking me? The fact that you're asking me this question means you already know the answer. And if your friends don't encourage you, then that's not your friends. Now, one thing I will say about Dr. John Delony, he does keep it real. But if you really think about it, though, the fact that you don't know that you need a man in your life to help you raise your son is probably the reason that you don't have a man in the first place. That probably contributes a lot to why your relationship failed. That probably contributes a lot to why this man doesn't even want to be around his son and help you. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that I endorse what he's doing. I'm not saying that he's cool. Uh, sausage, sausage Danny, man, appreciate that, appreciate that. I'm not saying that he's in the right. I'm not saying that he's a good guy. I'm simply saying we don't know the whole story. All we know is that you divorced this man. That's all we know. That you value the opinion of a man, so you're not all the way lost. You're not all the way in the dark. And we also know that you don't, that you want a man. You don't want to be alone because eventually your son is going to ask you questions that you were not given the gift by God to answer. You're already lost. You're lost. You're confused. And this is what happens. Now, I was going to make a video about what I'm about to say, but it needs to be more well thought out. But this statement, I thought about it and I'm going to say it. If you don't know what a man is for in totality, if you don't know what a man is for in totality as a woman, how could you actually understand what your purpose is in life or what your role is in a relationship as a woman? That doesn't make any sense. If you don't know how important hot water is, how do you think you understand how important cold water is? You know what I'm saying? So you have to understand that all of these problems, all of these imbalances, all of this confusion, all of these questions that you need to be answered, you could just solve that by adjusting whatever you have going on in yourself and finding a mate. All the that time that you spend with your friends that don't care about you and don't care about your son and don't care about your future and don't care about your son's future, leave them, ladies. They don't really care about you. They hear about all these struggles, all these financial issues, all of your little weird intimate stuff that you talk about, all the stuff that you miss about having a man, and all the stuff that you don't miss having a man. You don't ever think to yourself, well, how come they didn't tell me? Because I'm sure she probably asked her friends before she asked her family. Probably half of them or a third of them said yeah, a third of them said no, and a third of them were in the middle. That's why you asked your family. Or they gave you such a one-sided, they all said yes or they all said no, or most of them, you know what I mean? So you went to ask your family. Now uh, now you're super confused for real. And now you called on this show a total stranger who knows nothing about you, and he gave you the answer that I would have never, like, he didn't discourage her from getting a man, but he didn't encourage her from getting a man. The obvious answer is, hey, lady, if you're calling a male person, if you're calling a man to ask if you need a man to raise your little boy, if you're relying on me, if you're looking to me for guidance, if you're looking, honestly, what I would have to say is, my, I don't know if I got a call. I don't know if anybody heard all of that, but that's the answer, man. The last thing I do want to speak about is somebody asked me, when it comes to problems with children, with issues, how come society always blames the moms? Even if the father leaves and doesn't want to be a part of their child's life, how come they always blame the moms? And I'll give you two simple answers. The first simple answer is the mom is the first parent. I mean the first teacher, right? The mother is the first teacher. No matter what gender, the baby's gonna gravitate towards the mother for the first couple lives as a baby, as a toddler. Okay? The second answer, that should be even more obvious, is because you have all the rights. It is your responsibility to make decisions on who enters this life and who does not. You have all the rights in America, in the Western world. You have all the support by human beings. Not everybody agrees with the A word. Not everybody's against it. But you're going to find some kind of support in anything you do, whether it be from the government, if that man decides not to stick around, or your family or your friends will support you, or you could find support groups in person or online if you want to get rid of the baby. And it's your right. And the man has no say so. So, anything after that, pretty much, from conception, you not knowing this person, he's a stranger, or he had all the red flags and black flags, and you knew you shouldn't have been laying down with this dude, but you did anyway, that's your responsibility. That's your choice. Like, he tricked me. He's a narcissist. He's a narcissist. He gaslighted me. You didn't have to have the baby. I didn't know that he would leave. You didn't have to have the baby. I didn't know that he was doing that. You didn't have to have the baby. And that's your choice. So anything after that, it's on you. I'm not saying it's totally like you're supposed to take care of everything, but if there's problems, ultimately, you let this person come out of your body. And you chose the person to be a father figure to this person. And whether they were there or not, I'm not saying that everybody is gonna tell you like, look, hey, If we break up, I'm really not trying to raise this baby because I don't trust your judgment. I don't want a whole bunch of dudes around my child and you got some weird stuff going on in your life. Or you know what? I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been a crackhead this whole time and I just wanted to have a baby just to see what it felt like. And I don't like it. So I'm just gonna go back to smoking crack. Sorry. Uh, of course, nobody can predict the future. But that's a gamble. And if the child grows up to be a, Jason Voorhees or a Columbine or a doctor, that's on you. That's why people blame mothers for everything because you have the most powerful, powerful responsibility that you could have that America has given you total power over. And a lot of people don't take advantage of that superpower and really think about how important it is to have that power. With great power comes great responsibility. And you can't get mad. Now, I will say this. If you made a choice to be with a man and he stays with you the whole time and you guys raise a baby and that baby becomes, let's say, Kanye West, and that baby's amazing, or that baby becomes, does some 9/11 type stuff. All of that responsibility is on the man because he picked you, he stayed, and whatever influence that he had on that child and you wasn't good enough. So, ladies, just to take the pressure off of you guys, as long as you keep a man in your life, anything wrong that goes bad with that child, they're going to blame it all on the man. They're going to blame it all on the father. But if you don't have a father, they're not going to blame it on the father. They're not. That's just not how society is. That's just not how it is. It's just not how it works. It's just not how it is. That's just not how it works. So, Dr. John Delony, if you guys want to see that video, I'm going to put the link in the description. And that's it. Yes, you need a man. And if you don't know what a man is for, you need to reevaluate what you actually understand womanhood to be. If you don't understand what a man is, then how could you really call yourself a real woman? If you don't know. If you don't know what the opposite of what you are is, or the complement of what you are is, then you don't really know who you are in totality, in your role in not only a relationship, in the world, in life. If you don't know a lot about Satanism and Luciferianism and the left-hand path, how could you really be validated in your Christianity, in your Catholicism? You have to know what is the complement or the opposite of what you are. I've been saying that. If you don't know who the enemy or the ally is, or whoever the complement or the opposite is, then you're not even fully experiencing whatever it is you profess to be. If you don't know the police and you're a criminal, you're not a good criminal, because that's vital. And if you're a police officer and you don't know how criminals think, you can't be a good police officer. That's dumb. That would be silly for you to think that you are able to do your job as a police and you don't know how criminals think. That doesn't make sense. If you're a businessman, nigga, you need to know consumer psychology. You can't just know business. You can't just know about what you're going to do and how you think. You need to know what the opposite of you is going to do. If you are a business owner, you need to know why and how people consume certain products so you can do your job effectively and so you could experience the potency of whatever it is you have to offer. All right, that's it. It's Aaron Moses. Gang. Peace.